The diaphanous light began to pour from Anna's shoulder again, but this time, instead of falling onto the ground as a liquid, it began to consolidate into a physical form. Yes, they must, Anna said, taking a step towards Dirk. The light shifted and churned, finally resolving into its new solid form. It was an arm, a silver shimmering arm made of pure light. The arm held a sword. Anna continued advancing. Dirk stood motionless. "You've put us all through hell," Anna said. "Both figuratively and literally. We were supposed to be the Pony Pals. 3 friends who like to ride their fucking horses down the Pony Pal Trail and don't even realize what a stupid name Pony Pal Trail is. But instead, we're the Pony Pals who guzzle liquor and carry harpoon guns and sacrifice animals to dark gods and frame our teacher for arson." She kept slowly walking forward. "That is not right, and you had no right to make it such." Anna was now standing directly in front of Dirk, her face a stony mask. Electricity, terror, power. Anna raised the sword in her ethereal left hand, the sword and the hand that were the embodiment of all the innocence that had been forever lost. A blade of erased possibility. Pawnee looked away. Pam didn't. Dirk lowered his head, presenting the back of his neck. Anna swung the blade. But then she stopped. The blade hovered inches above Dirk's neck. He peered up at Anna questioningly, expectantly. "No," Anna said quietly, her eyes wide. "This isn't what I want." Her left arm and the sword it held instantly evaporated in a flash of white light. Anna stumbled backward, the unearthly power draining from her. "This isn't what I want, so who does want it?" She gasped, then looked at Dirk with pure disgust. "How long were you planning this?" she hissed. Dirk raised his hand and rubbed the back of his neck with one hand. "What are you talking about?" he asked Anna. He glanced at Pam and Pawnee, who both gave him "I don't fucking know" shrugs. "What was it? Some sort of emergency escape plan? A tertiary backup for your backup?" Anna said accusingly. "But if that's the case, you would have had to anticipate so much." She gave Dirk a piercing stare. "Just how in control of all this are you?" "Seriously," Dirk said, "I have no idea what you're referring to. You're the dyslexic uber being here. You're gonna have to help me out a little." "Minos," Anna said. "The reference to Daedalus on page 12, even that word you used a minute ago, redressed. It's all been setting up a metaphor that's simultaneously another one of your illusions. Indulge me, Dirk. What's the etymology of redress?" "French," Dirk said automatically. "Re again, dressier, straighten. What are you getting at?" "To straighten again." "Exactly. And what needs to be straightened?" Anna asked rhetorically. "The labyrinth." "Ah," said Dirk. "Clever. This entire book that you wrote, this tangle of orange, with all its absurd twists and double backs and dead ends, is the labyrinth you constructed," Anna said. "But you aren't Minos or Daedalus in the metaphor. You built this labyrinth from the inside, to hold yourself. You're the Minotaur." "Very clever," Dirk said approvingly. "And having built the illusion into the story as such, you knew I'd have the splinters of its characters inside me," Anna continued. "So you goaded me into thinking that you were the enemy of Crete, devourer of innocent Athenian youths. You handed me the sword of Aegis and pointed me towards yourself. You wanted me to be Theseus." "Christ," Pam whispered. "If that was my plan," Dirk said with a small smile, which I still maintain that it wasn't, "you'd have to admit that it was a good one. My own character killing me to erase my own influence from herself? I have no idea what that would do to the story, but I'm willing to bet there'd be some fireworks." "But I won't do it," Anna said. "I won't act out your fucked up masochistic fantasy." "Sparing my life?" Dirk said. "How noble of you. A lenient judgment." "You misunderstand," Anna said coldly. "This isn't leniency, and it's certainly not mercy. You'll still get your metaphor, but I'm going to invert it, turn it inside out." Dirk chuckled. "Inside out. There's that phrase again, so clinical. Inside out. A self-satisfied smile. And that, Jean Betancourt, is good light worth still." Anna ignored him. You still get to be the Minotaur, she said, and this book is fucking certainly still your labyrinth, but I refuse the role of Theseus. Instead, I'm going to be Ariadne, but she'll be inverted too. I won't give you a string to lead you out of the labyrinth. No, I'm going to use that string to entrap you even further. I'll inscribe you into the labyrinth, into the text itself. Here's some fucking wordplay for you. Plot thread, spinning a yarn, to weave a tale, all culminating in the creation of, you'll appreciate this, a textile. Bravo, Dirk said warmly, and I do appreciate this. But just one request before you imprison me in this metaphor. Minotaur is so crass. I prefer Asterion. Ironically, Anna asked, of course. Aren't you going to try to change my mind? Anna asked. It doesn't seem like you just give up like that, to relinquish control. I don't know how much control I even had to begin with, Dirk said. Besides, isn't it good that I'm not acting like I usually do? That shows that I've grown as a character, right? It would if you did it sincerely, Anna said, but the fact that you just said as a character instead of as a person made me question your motives. Yeah, I guess you're right, Dirk said, sitting down in the snow with a sigh. Maybe I'm just tired, worn thin. I don't know. What do you think? I think you're sad, Anna told him, and lonely, and I think you can't admit it without burying it under 20 layers of metafiction and pretension and irony. You want this book to be cathartic, right? That's what you wrote in your outlines. This should be a tough, emotionally draining read, but cathartic in all the worst ways. Cathartic for whom? The reader or you? Would it be vain to propose that it would be cathartic for the reader through me? Dirk asked. After all, isn't all fiction autobiographical? Or perhaps more precisely, autobibliographical? But what is the bio if not a transcribed biblio, a bibliography incarnate, or maybe incarnalized, a cardinal codex encoded in an incarnadine ink but soon to necrotize into a channel charter, a disembodied, de-inscribed spirit, a shaded shade, channeled by a medium through media, intermedial, the channel bridge into snies, which return us to the river's source, which is, of course, the sign, that single signal. You know what would be really cathartic? Anna interrupted. If you dropped all the meta bullshit and masturbatory word games. If you stopped hiding behind them. If you could just make one sincere effort at reaching out to the other human being reading this, without using quotation marks or a Dirk said to separate yourself from this character. If you could just be honest and straightforward and candid for once in your life and just communicate. I can't, Dirk said. I didn't think so, said Anna, and that's why you can't stay here. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And then Dirk was gone. Well, shit, Pam said. That was less dramatic than I thought it would be. Anna shrugged. Yeah, I didn't want to make a big thing of it. No need for any of the rest is silence bullshit, you know? Yeah, Pawnee said. She glanced around. So, now what? Now, Anna replied, we begin Operation Palimpsest. Operation Palimpsest. And that's where it ends, Jean Betancourt said. It's just blank paper pasted onto the pages after that. Except now it has me saying Operation Palimpsest, and that's where it ends. And now that's where it ends. So it looks like it's working under standard magical book rules. Now that we're caught up, it's recording everything we say and do a few moments after we say and do it. So no cheating by skipping ahead. Jean Betancourt closed the book, then quickly opened it again and read out loud. Jean Betancourt closed the book, then quickly opened it again and read out loud. Jean Betancourt. Satisfied, she shut it again and carefully placed it on the ground between herself, Acorn, and Minos. There was no sound but the menacing wordless babble of the Levy. Minos stood and stretched. I suppose we should formulate our 3 ideas now. That's the title of this chapter after all, and it's almost over, so we'd better have our ideas before the chapter ends. Well, shit.